People don't know where the gap is. There's a phenomenal amount of climbing up there, almost all of it due to Ralph Ekman's work and the Medicine Hat Climbing Club. And they spent years and years developing areas that are now the most popular climbing spot, I think, in southern Alberta. Lots of routes, lots of good multi-pitch routes. So the gap, you head to Lynbrook, take Highway 22 up until you cross the Old Man River right here, and then you follow the dirt road up, and right there is the mountain range. And right in here is what's called the gap, right there. And so the climbing here is in basically two spots. Right here on the end of this mountain, I can't remember, Thunder Mountain, I think that's called. And this is a great scramble up to here. Should be one of the most popular beginner scrambles, sort of like Turtle Mountain in Blairmore, very similar to that. And so right here you'll have the reservation slab, and then over on this other side is, what was that called? It was called Fort something. Yeah, I can't, let me take a look for that one. It was called the Fort House, Stone Fort. And that's just a couple easy climbs down on this side, and then there's the slab climbs, all of which are about the same level of difficulty, about 5, 6 or so. And these climbs are 5-2, 5-5. Okay. And then there are some old climbs on the other side of the Old Man River. This is where Yvon Chouinard and Joris Krishna Jansen had apparently done some fair bit of work on the longer climbs up there. So there's old pins that Scott Harms had discovered, and Tom Lynch-Stoughton had actually gotten taken through here through Joris's widow, and she wanted to point out the climbs that Joris wanted to know or show people that were up here. So you'll encounter old pins, and those are from Yvon Chouinard and Joris. And then there's a few routes over here that aren't very great. So the climbing that you come for is right here up Thunder Mountain. So you park here at the parking spot and take the trail. The Medicine Hat Club and Ralph Ekman has put a ton of work. And there's where your climbing spot is with the multi-pitches over here. And then another set of crags, crag right down there. So Reservation Slab, there's Joris's old route on the other side. And the rock's decent. I think this, Scott said about 5'9", or Tom said about 5'9". There's the Reservation Slab. So longer than one thinks. The anchor's up at the top for all these routes, and all these are bolted. These were different routes person. So that was Brent Mosley who did these ones. And so there's a little bit of gear, further bolts placements in these guys. And that was to the old 80s standards as to what those bolts were. And then over here on the other side, there's a couple of climbs you can look up in the guidebook. I wouldn't recommend them for much. And then we get into the Thunder Valley climbs. Now, I hope Ralph doesn't mind me using the topos that he's sent me and I found online for this stuff. Been lots of development. Like I said, I can't keep up with it. So let me give you my best overview without too much of the commentary about grades. So as you're coming up the valley, the first thing you'll get to is that executive wall. And the executive wall is down here. It's nice steep climbing, okay, fairly hot. So there'll be a bunch of bolted routes that you'll get to here. And again, they're fairly tough climbs. So great, nice quality ones. Climbing will be similar to the Banff area, so if you're used to that, you'll probably really like that. And then you'll come around the corner. Actually, let me see if I can pop up a picture of what those climbs were like. Just a couple of my old pictures. There's the executive wall right there with the climbs heading up. And then so you can get a sense as to the steepness. There's the kiddos climbing on that baby. Okay, so great work. Ralph Ekman does an awesome job on route development. Things are very clean, very safe, so you don't have to worry at all about that stuff. So good work on those guys. And as you get around the corner, there you'll see sort of the easier routes up here that are bolted and some mixed routes. That's on the right side, Echo Valley, I think they call that. And then on the left-hand side of that gully, which is the CPR corner, there you'll find that big gearbox, if you're ever wondering what it is, stashing all the bolting equipment. Carrying hundreds of bolts up is heavy. So a bunch of routes up here, right, all bolted that you're looking at. So nice solid rock here. Again, climbs very similar to Banff Canmore area type rock. And before we get to that area, here's sort of that overview topo. Let's get this further one. So there's the climbs off to the right, the climbs off to the left. You keep going up here. Now these ones really can't be set up a top rope on them, so you're basically leading up all these routes. And then there's some climb up here, and I think probably another one that got put up, okay, that gets up to the wall up there. Not many routes that I know about up there. And then here's the famous multi-pitch routes that everyone has done, and those are sort of in the 5-9 area if I remember. You can check Ralph's guide for more accurate information there. So great, all bolted all the way up. And then a couple more multi-pitch down there till you get to the corner, and underneath here is Climb Me to the Moon. So you're seeing lots of route development as well as the descents up here. This area I think is the newest area sort of been developing with routes. So the last one I saw didn't have routes up here or here. So lots of stuff to look at. Thank Ralph Ekman and all the Medicine Hat Climbing Club. Ralph's now over in Fernie doing all his route development up there. Now, as you keep going left, so you can go to CPR Corner, and then you can get to these climbs, and if you keep going, this is halfway to the Grey Havens area. And I think that's the band of fossil algae. I'd be surprised if it isn't. It looks very similar to that. And that's going to be sort of 18 meters of climbing, more compact rock, so probably climbs a little bit differently. And let's see. There's the Grey Havens area, so you're seeing that. It looks very similar to the upper tier of Drywood. And a whole bunch of routes up here, sort of in the 5-8 to 5-10 climbs right there. A couple 5-6s and 5-7s there. So expect a lot more route development up there. You can also get to the Grey Havens area as you're hiking up to Thunder Valley. You'll get to sort of the meadow where things top off, and there's a big boulder off to your right, and then things head to the right and they start to go up the scree. Just go to the left, and that's where I think the trail heads up to this Grey Havens area, probably in about another kilometer is my guess. So tons of routes here. Here's another view of this area that you can see. So just spectacular jobs. I think if I remember, after this tree there's sort of a via ferrata to secure this ledge to get to the BC corner, and it looks like they've gotten a new multi-pitch route up here. So tons to explore, and if you ever see Ralph and the guys, give them a big thank you.